are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, I'm Orchid Solang, and this is your news to 11:30. Firefighters joined BC Public Service job action amid mediated talks. British Columbia's Public Service Workers Union is expanding its job action and is in talks with the government to end its dispute. The BC General Employees Union says that its members from the BC Wildfire Service and the Ministry of Forests are joining the picket lines. The union and government began non-binding talks over the weekend with veteran mediator Vince Reddy. The strike is in its 8th week, disrupting hundreds of public services, stopping government ministries from work, and squeezing off the supply of liquor and cannabis in the province. The BC Conservative Board of Directors Management Committee has sent a letter to Conservative leader John Rustad, calling on him to resign as leader. This comes after his remarks about legislator Amelia Boltby's defection from party caucus, saying the party had some concerns. He adds the party was providing support while working through issues with her. Rustad says he didn't talk about mental health and that Boltby was confused. Boltby told CFAX Radio that she was not confused and that Rustad's insinuations about mental health were, quote, incredibly stigmatizing. In national news, the Liberals, Greens, and NDP want Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to apologize for recent comments on the RCMP. Poilievre called the RCMP, quote, despicable, and said former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau would be in jail if not for the Mounties. MP Andrew Lawton says Poilievre has support from MPs.
I think that Pierre Poilievre has tremendous support from caucus, tremendous support from Canadians. We're really excited to see what's going to be coming. But at the end of the day, this is like, a little out of context things from a podcast is really not the biggest priority.
Other Conservative MPs deflected questions about Poilievre's comments, saying the party is focused on issues like job losses. BC is leading the way for nurses in Canada. Our reporter Thomas Adams has more on the current healthcare problems.
Nursing has been a widespread problem facing Canadian healthcare for over a decade. In recent years, nurses have experienced overrun working conditions and long hours, leading to many people quitting the profession. According to the Montreal Economic Institute, BC is reporting the highest employment rate for nurses among other Canadian provinces. What may seem like an encouraging statistic may be alarming to some when taking a closer look. 27 out of 100 nurses under the age of 35 have left their job in BC. Although this is less than the national average of 40, nursing in Canada is rapidly losing its youth. Thomas Adams, BCIT News.
One of Canada's most wanted fugitives has pleaded guilty to conspiracy to murder rival gang members more than 15 years ago. BC prosecutors confirmed that Connor Dumont, gang leader of BC gang United Nations, entered the plea to the single count on Tuesday. Police have said that Dumont was a high-ranking member of the gang. The BC Prosecution Service says that the charge remains alive for now until a sentencing hearing on the conspiracy plea. A high-speed ferry accidentally struck a humpback whale in English Bay last October, resulting in serious injuries for the animal. Our reporter Gabrielle Roy gives us more details on the accident.
The Department of Fisheries and Oceans has just confirmed that the humpback whale involved was a calf. Its accident with a high-speed ferry, which came from a company called Hello Ferries, has resulted in the calf having a deep gash in its dorsal fin. It was last spotted in English Bay last Monday with another humpback whale. It was confirmed to be the calf of a whale named Zigzag from Hawaii. A DFO spokesperson confirmed that they will be monitoring the animal's healing progress due to the seriousness of its injuries. Gabrielle Rui, BCIT News.
The Louvre reopens today after the jewel heist, and French President Emmanuel Macron and Louvre chief Laurence Descartes are under scrutiny. Descartes says that the cameras are to blame as they failed to detect the burglars. The $102 million heist was committed in broad daylight, a fact that American tourist Bree Floyd raises concerns about.
We were, already on guard, but this kind of heightened it a little bit to be a little bit more safe and secure. Not go anywhere by ourselves and just look out for each other because you literally don't know. It happened in broad daylight.
The Louvre has declined to detail any reinforced protocols. And now for your weather, we have a low of 9 and a high of 13 today in the Lower Mainland.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow. This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Single biggest democratic institution in our society are unions, in terms of being able to come together and convene meetings where we're able to debate, discuss, and vote on, and then implement decisions that we've made.
For BCIT News, I'm Cohen Sassman.
And I'm Gabe Liesi. You're listening to the Picking a Scab podcast, where Cohen and I will peel back the layers of unions.
It's loud and historic. Outside many government offices across BC, thousands of workers are on strike. They're members of the BCGEU, one of the province's largest unions. Behind every picket line is a bigger story. What do unions really mean for workers today?
Some say unions are the backbone of workers' rights, Cohen. Others say they're outdated and even restrictive. Today, we're going to be exploring what unions mean in 2025 through two stories. One worker, a truck driver named Gordon Davidson, and a Capilano University student, Nico Williamson, who decided enough was enough.
So we recently back in March, we got certified by the Labor Relations Board to join the Move Up Union. And this month we got a transition agreement finalized, and we will be getting our wage increase at the end of the month, hopefully. Overall, it's been like a 3-year process.
It was the result of years of quiet organizing and a realization that student workers were being left out.
And it just became very clear that we were not considered within it, and we either fall through the cracks or fill the cracks.
For many, this wasn't just about fairness, it was also about survival.
There were several student employees that were thinking about quitting their jobs because they couldn't afford to survive on the wage and hours that they were getting at CapU. So this means that they can continue working the jobs they like without needing to starve or miss rent.
Many would have backed down in the face of adversity, Cohen, and the university did indeed try to complicate the process, but Nico and her team refused to back down.
Basically, they added 40 employees to the list that they never intended on allowing to unionize in order to make the list bigger, hoping that we fail, but we didn't. We grinded, we got those extra cards signed, resubmitted before the deadline.
And while Nico was building a union from scratch, Gordon Davidson was coming back to one after seeing both sides of the trucking industry.
Came from a union company to bulk fuel hauling, which was non-union, and now to these guys, which are union.
For Gordon, that contract isn't just paper, it's actual protection.
So with a union, there's those protections where, if those things are asked of you, you say no, and there's weight behind that. So I left the union job that I was at to work at this bulk fuel haul, because I was promised that I would guaranteed $90,000 a year to go up from there, to earn $100,000+ a year. When I looked at what I earned, I was closer to 74, right? And I did at a point go in and talk to the terminal manager. I was like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I was promised. And what I got told is you have to take this extra load or whatever. And that's, where you start getting pushed in your hours of service.
In fact, Cohen, he's not looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. He realizes that unions aren't perfect, but says he'd still rather have one than not.
They negotiate 2, 3, 5-year contracts, and it's fixed. So if things happen within those 5 years, and like wages in the industry kind of go up beyond what the contract does, then you don't kind of catch up with that till it comes to renegotiating the contract.
To understand the bigger picture, we reached out to Paul Finch, president of the BCGEU, the union leading the strike we heard at the top of this episode.
The number one purpose why we exist is to create a democratic organization to represent the interests of working people. And the number two reason we exist, of course, is to secure the best possible wages and benefits for our members.
Finch made it clear and said that unions are still crucial in a day and age where inflation has outpaced wages.
Unions are critical at a base level to ensure that people are paid fairly for the work they do. Yep. But more importantly than that, on top of that, we need to be able to make collective decisions in our society on a democratic basis, and that's not a simple thing.
For Nico, a union meant a living wage and a voice. For Gordon, it meant protection from unsafe demands. And for Paul Finch, it's about democracy itself.
Interestingly enough, though, Cohen, as much as union membership has gone down overall, union membership in the public sector has actually gone up since the late 1990s. It was at 74.5% roughly in 1997 in the public sector, and it's jumped to 76.7% 2 years ago.
And do you have any numbers on the private sector? Does the private sector, is it going up or down?
It's interesting. The private sector is actually going down. It's going in the exact opposite way. It was 21%, just over 21% in 1997, and in 2023 it fell to just above 15%.
So it sounds like government workers, they are becoming more unionized as time goes on, but private workers, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, and in fact, I spoke with a professor from SFU, Dr. Mark Lear, who can give context as to why this is.
My name is Mark Lear. I'm a historian, and my specialty is the study of labor and left-wing movements. The case that the law has been changed in BC and in other provinces, and federal law has changed to actually make it more difficult to form unions than it was in the 1970s. So it's also more difficult now to negotiate that first collective agreement.
It was very interesting because it's one of the things that he said was union membership has gone down overall, and yet people are still very willing to strike and are still very willing to fight for what they feel is what they feel they are owed, despite the fact that the BC government has actually made it more difficult, legally speaking, to strike and eventually form a union.
And have you noticed that there's any dangers to possibly signing a union card?
That's one of the things that I spoke about with Nico, and I was expecting there to be more hesitancy amongst the students at the university, but they were more than willing to sign union cards and put their names out there, and were just willing to fight for what they believed in. And I think that's one of the reasons why the union drive was so successful, really.
It sounds like if you don't need a union, you don't think about it, but if you need a union, it's life or death.
This episode was produced by Cohen Sassaman and Gabe Liesi from BCIT Radio. Special thanks to Nico Williamson, Gordon Davidson, Paul Finch, and Mark Lear.
For BCIT News, I'm Cohen Sassaman.
And I'm Gabe Liesi. Thank you for listening.
I really do think that, the unions are there to protect the workers, and I believe that companies should be unionized because they do take advantage of employees.